feel like I have too much energy for this episode because the Bears should still be playing right now. I'm so disappointed. But the mock offseason for us is upon us. This is probably one of our favorite times of year outside of cheering on the Bears. We are going through contracts, salary cap. We are going to go through free agency. We're going through the draft. It'll be a 3-part series. This is going to be a lot of fun. There's giveaways involved. Bob, why don't you tell them a little bit more about that?
So, if you are a subscriber or you're not a subscriber already, make sure you subscribe now. You will be entered into a giveaway. Each of our 3-part mock offseason series will give you a chance to enter. And if you win, you will get your choice of a jersey. We usually say jersey of your choice in case you don't want a Bears jersey, but I think everyone wants a Bears jersey now. Or 2 other chances for some Halas Huddle swag, either a t-shirt or we now have stocking caps or just baseball caps. So make sure you subscribe and then comment now.
So the jersey is the top prize, 1 jersey, and then from there it's the stuff. So
breaking news, by the way, Nike Renegade, Nike something jerseys are being released for the NFC North this year. There's a really good chance there's going to be that polar white on white. So maybe you want to wait. It's supposed to come out in September.
All right, we'll see. I'm excited. This is a draft hat from a few years ago, and so I figured I better throw this on. We get to pretend we're the GM or assistant GM, and there was a little bit of news. Ian Cunningham is out because he was hired by Atlanta. More to come on that, though, because we thought there would be some compensatory picks coming the Bears' way, and then we could mock those types of things, but it looks like they will not be getting picks. More on that in a future episode.
Yeah, hopefully by the time we do our draft episode, we'll have more clarity on what exactly that means, and maybe we'll do a mini episode where we can break down the nonsense that might come to it if that's what happens. They take away our picks.
So one thing we think real GMs and assistant GMs and scouting teams do is you got to self-assess. So what are your needs? What are your main top 5 needs? And so we on this show kind of talked about it, but Rob, do you want to kind of mention where some of our debate was?
Yeah, I haven't secured my order yet, but as of today, right now, for me, it's defensive tackle and defensive end. Those are my 2 top needs. You could kind of flip one or the other. I'm not really concerned which one or which. It just depends on what you do in free agency. Then you target one in the draft, vice versa. Safety is up there for me at number 3. Left tackle is up there for me at number 4. And then linebacker. Linebacker is going to be a need. And I know that's weird because they pretty much only play 2.
I'm going to throw it to Bob after I just quickly put mine because it's nearly identical. But I have defensive end and defensive tackle both as 1. And what I think that means is you have to address both of those, both in free agency and in the draft. That's how desperate I feel it is to upgrade at that position. But then I had the same as you, Rob. So, Bob, you were a little bit different. So
I got a little bit different. So I got one that's far and away clearly the Bears' biggest need, and it's for the most basic reason. There are no safeties on this roster right now, so you need to address safety. I have defensive end at number 2, but it's more not just like we need defensive ends. We need a premier pass rusher defensive end. 3, I have linebacker for what we're going to get to later in this episode. We need some linebackers on this roster. And then defensive tackle, you just cannot have too much defensive tackle depth. And then my last need is more just overall roster depth. We need to keep finding Nahshon Wrights out of nowhere. We need to keep finding McFadden's out of nowhere that can fill in spots on this roster. So that's just kind of like my 4th need. And I guess to kind of dispute left tackle, I don't want to overreact to just one injury. I'm not going to advocate for using a 1st-round pick or spending big-time free agent money on a left tackle because a guy who we think is going to be here for 3 more years is going to miss 10 games of this season, right? We already saw that they were able to, solve that problem for 1 game by just shifting Tooney over to left tackle. Is that what I'm advocating for? Not necessarily, but we saw how worried we were about left tackle last year. It turned out to be totally fine because we were so solid and secure at the other spots. You still have a guy you drafted in the 3rd round a couple years ago in Karan Amagaji. I'm not saying he's definitely the guy, but he's an option. You still have Theo Benedict, who was not great, but fine. If you just find a couple more of those options and you go in with that, I think you're going to be fine. But I just don't see it as a top need priority to go spend a lot of premium resources to fill this season.
So I actually forgot Karan Amangaji was on the team. I'm straight up like being serious. I forgot he was on the team. He means nothing to me at this point. Maybe he can do better, but I don't know. He's out for me. I just think left tackle is a major need because of what you just kind of said. You got the guy, hopefully, who's going to miss at least 10 games of the season. What are you going to do? I know Thea Bennett's most likely going to be coming back. He's not a restricted free agent. He's some type of restricted free agent, so most likely he will be back. But even him, like, they felt good about him in the run game, didn't feel as good about him in the pass blocking game. Braxton Jones is going to be gone. He did nothing the first few weeks and then was on the injury reserve for the rest of the season. It's just a really tough situation. I understand your point, and I agree with you. I'm not going to go out and spend big money at left tackle. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And I'm very early in the draft process, guys, but I'm not thrilled about left tackle again in this upcoming draft, especially getting all the way down to number 25. So to your point, Bob, I agree with you. I don't think it needs to be a need in the sense that you got to go pound it and go get it, but you got to find bodies and you got to find someone. And maybe, and I hinted at this in the text, and you mentioned it, maybe you do move Joe Thuney over to left tackle and you let that play out for, half to 3/4 of the season. I don't know.
I'm not going to pile on too much. It's just great to know that the other 4 people that make up that unit are all either all pro or pro bowlers. So it's not a huge need from that sense, but to the point that you both made, it's got to be addressed. So that's kind of why I put it in top 5.
See, I didn't even list it as a need because I honestly think if you go in with essentially the offensive line you had in the playoff game on your depth chart to start the season next year, you're going to be fine. You're probably going to draft a tackle in the 5th or 6th round. Maybe you'll find some cheap veteran, maybe just to add to the room. But I think it's fine. It really is fine.
Kind of like a Case Keenum of the offensive line.
Maybe.
More on Case Keenum later. No. But guess what? The good news is that I think they're going to have their fair share of good prospects and free agents wanting to be here, right? So let's take a really quick look at their salary cap situation.
Well,
oh my goodness.
One thing you want to know right off the bat is if you sometimes hear that the Bears are over the cap, which is an accurate statement at this exact moment, there are many, many ways. And that's a big part of what this episode is going to be about, on ways you manipulate that, moves you make to add cap space. And we're going to have this number nice and healthy before the end of this episode.
Yeah, that number at the top, we see -$9 million. I mean, that number has been reported. The Bears are over the cap. We have no money to do anything. We are hopefully going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is not the case. We can create lots of room and do plenty.
Yeah, and if you look at that compared to the rest of the NFC North, it's actually been a little bit of a shift since Justin and I talked about this on one episode we discussed earlier. Look, 21st, Green Bay, they're also over the cap. Detroit, also over the cap. Like, look at Minnesota, $39 million over the cap. I mean, this is a situation that I think most teams are in, and there's ways to get around it. And one thing I just want to bring up really quick, and I think this is where a big strategy is being used from most of the NFL teams. There's this huge assumption, and I know there's an assumption that every year that salary cap is going to increase, but there is a huge assumption that the NFL salary cap is going to continue to rise drastically in 2029. The league has an opt-out clause that year, and all of its broadcasts contracts. And it's widely expected that they are going to exercise that option. And you're talking deals with ESPN, Amazon, all the other, streaming services that we've been dealing with this past 2025 season. And the new deals could definitely lead to a dramatic cap increase similar to what we saw in the 2006 season, which saw a 19.3% year-over-year rise. So I think teams are going to find ways to make things work between now and then. But yeah, I think just looking at it really quick. Okay, so the Packers are the first team at 21. I just wanted to put this out here as well, that are over the cap. Every other team is under the cap.
Right now, but I mean,
the Titans have $101 million. I have no idea what they're going to do with that.
Green Bay, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, so we're even, we're saying that Green Bay is 21st in cap. They're the first ones who are over the cap, but that's right now. right? But also some of these other teams might not have the same maneuverability that the Bears have. So, potential cap could be different. Even though there's a team right now that might look like they're got $5 million under the cap, they might not be able to maneuver themselves to even more than that. So just keep that in mind as we go through this too.
All right, let's move on. All right, current contracts. We're going to look at guys who are currently under contract that we might want to trade, cut, extend, or just convert their current contract and just basically what's not reallocation? What's the word I'm looking for? Restructure. Thank you. It came to me as I saw it coming out of your mouth before it came. ESP right there. Restructure their contracts.
It's weird to make clear eye contact to someone over a Zoom call, but that's what happened.
So this one is one that, we put our thoughts together off air, right? These are things that we did previous to this episode. But even to this point, we are not 100% consensus on certain things. And I think we got to hash out one. I think this is going to be the one that we talk about the most. I think it's the one that most people are going to be talking about. And that is going to be the DJ Moore situation. Look, going into this year, he's going to be 29 years old. He's got a cap hit of $28.5 million. That is wide receiver one type money. You can't cut him, right? You're going to lose money at $35 million. You could trade him. And if you do that before June 1st, so you're talking before the draft, you're going to save around $12 million. I know if you trade him after the draft, it actually could be $24 million, right? So I'm sorry, you save $16 million. The dead cap is $12 million. I misspoke there on the trade numbers. But if we don't do anything and the Chicago Bears just leave him as is, he's under contract until 2030. So
just to throw my opinion in here, I'm not just trading DJ Moore just simply to trade him. I feel there's reason. And you mentioned the financial benefit of it, but it also comes down to realistically, if he were to remain on this team, and I know there's a scenario where he does, he's probably your fourth receiving option because I'm putting Odunze and Burden and Loveland ahead of him in terms of the guys you are building this future with. Now, I still think DJ Moore is a very good player. That's why I think he still is tradable. To be clear, Bears fans, just so you know, you're not getting a first-round pick for him. We put on there, you might get a fourth-round pick. You might get a fifth-round pick. But you also could get $16.5 million or $24.5 million to reallocate around this roster and fix other areas of the team than your fourth best pass catcher.
Yeah, so a couple things with that. One, I'll say not only just a fourth-round pick, it might be a 2027 fourth-round pick. It might not even be helping us in this draft if it's a post, June 1 trade. It might be one of those situations where teams, thought they might have got a guy early in the draft and they were unable to do so. So then they come calling to the Bears, say, hey, maybe we will take a look at this DJ Moore contract. The other thing I will just dispute that DJ Moore is making number one wide receiver money. I think he's making excellent wide receiver two money. I think that any wide receiver one who went on the open market right now would just laugh if somebody offer them $28.5 million. So I think that hopefully means there might be some value in the trade market, but also is DJ Moore really a number one wide receiver? Or is he just an excellent number two wide receiver as he's being paid to be, right? And just one more thing that, I really haven't got a chance to be on this channel since the Bears got eliminated. And I know that there's been some negative sentiment with DJ Moore going back to last year with the body language and then him running the wrong route or not making the correct adjustment. And so now it's this seems like it's punitive that we're shipping DJ Moore out for that. That's not, I think, what we're doing here. I think it's more it just kind of makes sense from a lot of facets, right? He might be, to Justin's point, the number 4 option on the offense right now. If you're going to put a Dunze, Burden, and Loveland ahead of him, plus the money, plus the clear avenue to saving some cap space. So that's just really why we're exploring this.
Yeah, so the other option is you could convert his contract, do a restructure here, and you can save $18.5 million. It's going to put in a single void year on the contract, which is going to cause some dead cap issues when you get the 2031. But again, I just explained 2029, we're expecting that huge shift going into that 2030 season of salary caps jumping, right? It's not a guarantee, but
we're also here on the Halas Huddle. We're going to put in a bid, right, to see if we can get a game that we broadcast or something.
That's right. Live broadcast through our YouTube channel. I think
we're offering Halas Huddle swag.
That's right.
What will that get us?
I think it's also important to note that 2029 year would be the first year where Caleb Williams' salary really jumps, if that's either just a franchise tag number or first year of an extension. So I think it's kind of important to just kind of earmark that as,
he might be looking for a raise
for doing this. What's that?
Bob,
might be looking for a raise.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yes. So, Bob, to your point, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, $35 million per year, $40.2 million per year. So those are your two top receivers right now, right? So they set the market over last season. DJ Moore, though, is ranked 13th in average salary. So
New York Giants would want a 2, would want a number 2 to put with Neighbors. Oakland Raiders with Mendoza.
I could see a team like the Buffalo Bills being interested in a guy like DJ Moore if they could create some cap. They have some cap issues, but do they have the maneuverability that other teams do to get under it? I don't know, to take on a contract like DJ Moore. I don't know. That might be a nice trade. Maybe they have a defensive tackle making some money that we can grab for a DJ Moore.
I'm going to tell you right now, the chances of DJ Moore going to the Raiders and some type of trade with Max Crosby coming back, because I know fans are putting it out there, just stop. That's, in my opinion, never going to happen. You got a 1% chance of that actually happening. I just don't see it happening whatsoever.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Raiders taking a look at the Bears being an appealing trade partner because, they have DJ Moore who we can pay at value. I just don't think that enters the discussion at all.
Max Crosby is the face of that franchise. He is everywhere down there. They are not going to move him for a DJ Moore. And plus draft picks. They're just not.
Yeah, plus draft picks, of course.
All right, so we will figure out what we're going to do with this off air. And it'll be a to be determined, I think. Because
by the time we do our next episode, when we hit free agency, we will have our final number of cap. But I do think
as of right now, I wanted to convert. Justin wanted to do a trade, and you were on the fence for both, I believe.
I'm on the fence. I just kind of like the conversion is nice that you get the $18.5 million in the first year. That's great. But then next year, his cap goes up all the way back up to the $28 million again, and you don't really get that savings. And you have an extra year of financial commitment on the back end when Caleb's going to be expensive, right? So it's appealing, but at the end of the day, I think a trade is most beneficial to the Bears, but how likely is it? So that's what I'm struggling with this exercise.
Sounds good. All right, let's move on to the next guy. Tremaine Edmunds. This is another one that I think everyone is talking about. I was very much on the fence with Edmunds. Look, he's 28 years old, coming off probably his best year as a Chicago Bear, and I know he was injured and missed some time, but he looked very different in the Dennis Allen system. Playing that middle linebacker spot than he did under Matt Eberflus, playing he was the will, right? Just very, very different. 17.4 million cap hit. What people are seeing, though, is you're a cut candidate right there. You are saving $15 million if you release Tremaine Edmunds. That is a huge amount of money to put on the books. You're already going from that -9 into that positive, right? You are now under the salary cap with one move. That's all it takes. Probably doesn't really have much of a trade value. I put on here, my guess is the best you could get for him is a 6th-round pick. You could convert his salary, but you're putting 4 void years on there, and I don't think that's worth it for only $10 million.
I thought this one was an easy one. You have to create some cap space. As you said, he did look good at times, but I'd rather replace him with maybe DeMarco Jackson, who's already on your roster, who you've seen some flashes, has the speed, has the strength, has shown the ability to be a playmaker at a much cheaper value, and then put that money, like I keep saying, towards other needs on the team.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it at first I thought that cutting him, no, he's such a good player. He really showed out when he was healthy. Let's just keep good players on the team. But when you look at that number and you realize, the impact other linebackers made when Edmunds wasn't playing, you see that it's not that important that it has to be him. The only other possible thing we could maybe explore is an extremely team-friendly extension. But, is that something he wants to just all of a sudden go from a $17 million salary to $11 million salary? Like, I don't even know if that's plausible. So I think it's just best for all parties to just cut bait, just rip the Band-Aid off, get him off the team.
We will have our consensus here at the end. So stick around to see what we decided on. There are decisions that we did make. I know I said DJ Moore one is to be determined. We did come up with a decision regarding Edmonds. Montez Sweat, another name that's being thrown out there. A lot of people are saying you got to either extend or convert him to save some salary cap. He's 30. He is going to be 30 years old for the 2026 season, a $25 million cap hit. There's some space there, right? Like, I mean, you're only going to have a dead cap hit of $8.1 million. So you could definitely save, a significant amount of money there if you removed him. But he's your best defensive end, and you're already having defensive end issues. I don't see how you move on from Sweat at this point just to save that, what I feel is a minimal amount for what is a defensive player that showed out, especially in the playoffs, had over 10 sacks. He's been the first guy to have double-digit sacks consistently on this team for quite some time. Even Montez Sweat even Khalil Mack didn't hit that, right? Like, he had the 1 year when he first came in and then just fell off. Same with, who's the guy? Smith, who set the record? Robert
Quinn.
Oh my God. Yeah. Quinn, not Smith. Robert Quinn. Thank you. Right? Like, he's that guy who has like one really good year and then just dips the next 19 and a half sacks and then did nothing. I don't know. We'll talk about it. I don't really see a trade market for him either at his age and the way that his contract is structured, and converting him. You're throwing 3 more years on there. You're talking, his contract ends in 2027. So you're talking he's going to be 35. Like, that just seems a little bit on the end of somebody's career to be doing something like that.
So this one for me was easy. Just don't do anything and let him. That number, it's kind of like what Bob just said about wide receiver. It might have looked big a while ago, but now a number one edge is getting almost $40 million is what the going rate is for your Myles Garrett's and Crosby's and people of that ilk. But he did have double-digit sacks, and he does play well against the run. I just think you need to put someone better than what you've been putting out across from him. Don't do anything with him. Let him play this out.
Yep, hold pat. He's getting paid like a very good starter, and he's played this past season like a very good starter.
I think we already hinted at what's going to happen here. When our consensus sounds like we're all just holding pat and let him playing out his contract. Joe Thuney, he just came in. They literally traded a 4th-round pick for this guy, gave him an extension already. What are we doing here? He's 34 years old. This guy is like already ready to retire, right? I don't know. The way he looked like he was 22. That guy was unbelievable this season. On getting a Proctor Award, most likely, as one of the best offensive linemen. $21.5 million seems like nothing at this point for a guy who I think he let up 2 pressures in the postseason. That's it. No sacks allowed. Played left tackle for us for them for a game. Like, I don't know. I have nothing but positive things to say about Joe Thuney.
So the reason he's on here, folks, you can create cap space by restructuring and extending players. And as it says on that slide, you got Joe Thuney, who's already won Super Bowls. He's been a part of legendary teams. Let him end his career on one of those too, So pretty much do what you have to do to spread out his money in a team-friendly way so that you lock him up for the rest of what seems to be a Hall of Fame career.
I mean, I think I just keep going the opposite way of you guys. I just think we've already seen the best of Joe Thuney. It's never going to get better, so just get him out of here. I'm absolutely kidding. I'm so happy.
Nip that. Make it short. Put it out there.
I'm so happy that he's on the team. Just what a phenomenal move last year. Nominee for Protector of the Year. This new award the NFL has. He's one of the best 5 offensive linemen in all of NFL. You do whatever you got to do to keep him around. I'm not worried about dead money 3-4 years after his career just because we did what we could to keep him here and help out the rest of the team. He's not going anywhere.
If he wants to play until he's 50, like Tom Brady, no, I'm just joking. All right, what about his teammate Jonah Jackson? Very similar, right? Was brought in, gave an extension. They're on the same path. He's worth $19.5 million this year. Seemed a little bit steeper for a guy who struggled at the beginning of the year, but I'm sorry, he turned it on probably like week 5, week 6. It was right after the bye week. So bye week was what? Week 5. So week 6, I feel like Jonah Jackson was an all-pro. I don't think he got the all-pro status this year. I could think of a handful of times where he made a couple mistakes. I just thought he was unbelievable. He's younger than Tooney. Is he worthy of an extension as well?
I think so. And actually, something you said there, Rob, I want to touch on and kind of bring it back to the DJ Moore conversation. You can't just look at this as numbers like, oh, we'll save this much. You also have to look at what do you have to now do to fill a position you've now vacated. So that's why I felt comfortable with DJ Moore. You're getting all this money and you only need to replace him with a wide receiver 3 because you already think you have your 1 and your 2. Whereas a guy like Jonah Jackson, exactly, he might already be on the roster. But a guy like Jonah Jackson, don't disrupt anything. These guys looked great as a unit. Line them all up together. Let's go. Protect Caleb in these years where he's still on his rookie deal. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm very interested in exploring a restructure with Jonah Jackson. I mean, I don't know about, as much of an endorsement of giving Tooney, do whatever you got to do to just extend him and just make it team friendly. I'm a little more cautious with that just because of the kind of injuries in the past. But yeah, certainly I think there's some maneuverability here to show them we love you and also get some cap flexibility.
All right, moving on. We are now looking at expiring contracts. All right, guys who basically we're talking, the Kevin Byards, the Jaquan Briskers, guys whose contracts are coming to a close. There were some other contracts that are current contracts, but for time's sake, we're not going to go through all of them. Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, they will come up in our consensus decision section. So we will get to those guys. I know listeners will be like, what about this guy? What about that? We will touch on them. Make
sure you comment below, though. Make sure you comment below.
We can
That's right. That's right. So now we're going to look at expiring contracts, guys whom we are either thinking about re-signing or letting walk. Let's talk about Kevin Byard. I think he's the one. He's the one, and we will preface this. He's part of our consensus. This is the one guy that we all agreed on. He needs to come back.
Well, not only that, I mean, he was called out by name in Ryan Pohl's end of season press conference. So, and I guess Byard even said there's mutual interest. Whereas the other person on that screen right there, Jaquan Brisker, that's not the message you've been hearing. So I think with Byard, Pro Bowler, All Pro, veteran, leader, and to Bob's point earlier, you have literally 0 safeties for next year. So go after him. He's at the point in his career where it's like 1-year contract will probably be what you're looking at, maybe 2. You don't have to really break the bank, I don't think. And I think he wants to be a part of what has started to be built. So hopefully you get a little hometown discount if you need that. But
yeah, can I touch on that before you talk, Bob? Sorry, I just want to piggyback off that. Justin, it was funny because you said 1 year, $8 million was where your head was at, and I went 2 years, $16 million, which is basically the same AAV, right? I just felt like it might require that second year. So to your point, yes, I 100% agree.
Yeah, but that second year might be not any guaranteed money. That's how there's a lot of things work anyway. But yeah, I mean, he's a team leader, huge part of the change in culture as well as the change in performance on the field. So very easy decision to bring him back. I think with the next guy isn't so simple and easy. I think there's more things to consider. You have the Brisker slide, right?
I don't have a Brisker slide. They're together.
Oh, okay.
I put it together.
Oh, they're there. Yeah. So I mean, what you call him Brisker, like he might command more money on the open market than I think he's worth. So at that point, now you're, you don't want to overpay guys, even though you like some of the fire Jaquan Brisker has, but maybe the production and the health isn't always there. But then you also start to possibly get to play the comp pick game, right? With Jaquan Brisker, another guy who's not listed here, Nishan Wright, right? Or is he going to get a big contract out on the open market? So you kind of let those guys walk. You figure out ways to replace them through the draft, or maybe veterans who have cut who don't get counted in that comp pick game. And so now you're kind of picking up some free draft picks along the way if you're able to address your needs in other ways.
Yeah, and see what the market is going to pay, because it wasn't too long ago he missed almost an entire season with a concussion. That probably brings down his number. I mean, he got through this season. That wasn't an issue, but I don't know. So I don't want to overpay for a guy like Brisker.
Yeah, so for me, if it's anything over 10 million per year, I feel like it's going to be pretty much in average salary. 3 years, 30 million. He's 27, so this is a huge thing, right? 33 years old for Brisker, or for Byard this year, 27 for Brisker going into 2026. So there's definitely an age gap there, but with that injury history, like I just can't fathom giving him that much money and then getting hurt. We just saw this happen with Kyler Gordon, right? Like missed this whole entire year basically after he signed a contract. I think he's worth the contract even more than Brisker would be worth his contract. And I will say when those two are together, it is definitely a different defense, but I think you can easily, maybe not. I know I'm going to say, I think you can easily replace Brisker. I think there are guys out there that can play just as well as him, either in the draft or through free agency that you can sign for less money.
Whereas with Byard, I believe he leads the entire NFL in interceptions since he's been in the league. So a lot harder to replace that. So
people sleep on Kevin Byard. I remember when he was with the Titans and I literally was calling this guy an all-pro and people were laughing at me on social media. I think the guy's absolutely fantastic. I love his mentality. I love his locker room presence, his leadership, and what he does on the field. The guy is a complete player, and I want him here. Just like Tooney, I think he should just finish out his career here as a Chicago Bear. So let's talk about a couple. Go ahead.
I was going to say Nahshon Wright, I think, deserves a bit of a discussion here. Obviously big year, giant year, lots of turnovers, essentially out of nowhere. There's probably a lot of sentiment. Oh, you got to bring that guy back. He's such a huge part of what happened on defense. And I would just caution bringing the band back isn't always the best course of action, because what if it was just a one-year wonder and now you committed all this money, all this dollars, when really the magic of it was that he did kind of come out of nowhere. So, go give yourself 3 or 4 more cheap options next year to replace Nahshon Wright and hope one of them hits. Maybe it won't hit as big, but it'll definitely hit for more than you're paying those 4 guys to see, if you can replace some of that.
Well, and maybe it matters if you're keeping Al Harris as your defensive back coach. He's getting interviews as a defensive coordinator, but up to this point hasn't been hired. And this isn't just since he's been with the Bears. When he was with Dallas, they were leading the league in interceptions. And so I'm hoping he's here at least one more year and you find, hey, maybe it's Za Frazier. You know what I mean? Like guys are going to come in and develop them into the next Nahshon Wright.
It also could be Tyreek Stevenson. It also could be Terrell Smith.
Tyreek Stevenson is
it could be guys that we
corner.
Aren't even close to our radar right now, like Nahshon Smith at this time last year, right? Or Nahshon Wright, like at this time last year. You just don't know. So I'm just not overcommitting dollars to somebody who made spectacular plays, but maybe not enough routine ones.
So just to put perspective out there, SpotTrack has his projected market value at $16.6 million per season. That is just way above what I think the Chicago Bears should be paying for a guy who's had one breakout year. I think he's going to be 28.
Let someone else pay that. Then you're getting a comp pick.
Yes, 100%. And then Over the Cap, which is another site that does something similar, they only had him at 10.3, so a little bit more similar, a little bit lower, but you're probably talking 14 million. If you average those two out. So crazy.
A couple other guys I think are interesting to talk about are CJ Gardner-Johnson and Dominique Robinson. I'll go Dominique Robinson just because I think it's interesting that I think he really turned himself into usable NFL rotational defensive end, and that's more than a veteran minimum type contract. I think he's going to make a lot more money in the offseason than we think. But it's kind of like, remember Roy Robertson Harris left and signed kind of a big contract. So I think it's like,
I was going to say Bilal Nichols.
More power to you. Go sign that contract somewhere else. Thank you for your time here. I think you were well worth a 5th round pick that we got you for, but I just don't see him returning for the kind of money I think he can get elsewhere.
So I already mentioned this guy earlier, but I'm going to mention him again here. I think they do need to re-sign DeMarco Jackson. If you would have told me that I said these words a year ago, I would have denied it because I didn't even know who he was. He wasn't on this roster, but he has experience with Dennis Allen. He looked great in the limited time he was here. I'm not saying you max out a deal for 4 or 5 years, but you could probably get him on a 2-year deal or something. I mean, be smart about it and give him an opportunity. He'd be getting maybe a starter opportunity. because we're saying we're cutting Tremaine Edmonds. So try to replace him.
The other guy, and a guy that I pounded the table for 2 years ago, he was my guy. He's a big guy, was Andrew Billings. And I think his contract, I think he's played out his time here in Chicago. His time has passed. We're going to put him out to pasture. We're going to put him out to pasture, let him walk. He will be 31 years old this year, struggling with some injuries. He's just not the same player.
He's an even bigger guy now.
Yeah. In the preseason, they said he wasn't going to be a good fit in Allen's system, and I would say that played out.
He was an adequate rotational defensive tackle, but you should be able to replace that. And the other guy, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who we didn't really touch on, I think is an interesting just because of who he is in his history in the league the last few years.
6 teams he's been on.
With the holes that we have on safety and his kind of flexibility, I would love for him to be a part of the secondary, but I'm really not committing more than basically veteran minimum dollars.
Yeah,
he has what he's going to see it get out in the open market.
If he tests the market and it's not there, then you lock him up at a reasonable price.
I'll be honest,
Braxton Jones.
Let me just put this out here for CJ Gardner-Johnson. Sorry, okay. Spotrac does not have a market value for him, but over the cap does. They're only at $2.1 million. That's over the veteran minimum. I'm okay with that amount of money though for him. I think that would be completely fine. So if he walks test free agency and isn't getting the big numbers that he's expecting to get, I'm okay if they bring him back for like between $2 and $3 million.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
Did you mention a Bears player?
I mentioned, no, but Braxton Jones.
Oh.
And I know I'm willing to let him walk, and I'm thinking I'm going to speak for Rob too, but since you were president of the Play Braxton Jones fan club, I'm going to let you speak. Is it time for him to
my plan was always to let him walk. I was just hoping that he was going to walk after a productive year at left tackle, not being, hurt and completely out of shape and needing to put on IR and then never to be seen again. So it's unfortunate the way that worked, but yes, Braxton Jones, best of luck in your future endeavors. I think you're going to be better than you showed this year, but, maybe never as good as I hoped you were going to be.
I got to put you on the spot one more time, Bob.
Yeah.
What about Case Keenum? Are we bringing him back as QB3?
No. Cue the Michael Scott jib. No. Like, he's just like.
I still hear them talking
about how good was Caleb Williams this year? He was great. He took great steps forward. He's still not as good as we wanted. How many times did we hear from training camp till now Case Keenum's impact on that?
Ben Johnson
exactly zero.
No, Ben Johnson talked about it, and
I heard it.
I didn't know. Didn't he talk about it in his postseason or post?
Yeah, and there was clips of them talking on the sideline in between in a game. There was stuff. But and he was on the practice squad. No one wanted him, so I think you could just throw him there.
Throughout the season,
he was off for 53.
I didn't think Johnson was just saying things to say things. I thought he tried to say it like he thought it. And he mentioned it as being part of what helped Caleb this year. Now, at this point, though, maybe he can just be assistant quality control coach.
So
that's what Bob wanted from the start.
Get him off the 53-man roster. He is useless as a 53-man. All of his value has nothing to do with taking up a spot on that roster.
I lied. He wasn't on the 53. He was just a healthy scratch for multiple games.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. I don't got anyone else specific here to talk about. We will touch on some names here in the consensus decision section. So let's move on to that. All right. DJ Moore to be determined. DeAndre Swift. The three of us.
Go back to DJ Moore real quick for a second. In the comments section, let us know what you think we should do.
Yes,
with DJ
please.
Moore. Are you cutting him? Are you trading him? The void year, you trade him, and for trading, what do you think you're going to get? But let us know where you're leaning, so we can put that into consideration for next episode.
We want your opinion to help sway the three of us. Do not put in there trade him to Oakland or Las Vegas for Max Crosby and give them 2 first rounds. It's not happening. Stop it.
You said 1%, Rob. You told them there was a chance.
Stop. I know who's going to do it. It's going to be Dr. Truth. Dr. Truth is going to do it.
DeAndre Swift for a long snapper, actually. DeAndre Swift, people want to run him out of town. Him and Monangai are the only tandem in the NFL to both have over 750 yards rushing this season. It looked good. Keep it going. His contract ends next year. Then you replace him with a draft pick or a free agent or whatever you want to do.
I will just say, like, that's fine. That's consensus. But if we get to a point in the offseason where maybe there is a big trade for defensive end coming and you need to create $8 million of cap space, thank you, DeAndre. We're going to be able to replace your 750 yards from a different source.
Well, to be fair, he wasn't the one at 750.
I know. He was at 1,000. I know. But I think it was a lot of a system thing more than a DeAndre Swift thing. That's just the way the nature of running back in the NFL.
Real quick to what Bob was saying. Look, if you do cut him, you're going to save $7.5 million, right? Straight up $7.5 million. That's a lot of money. That almost gets you to the positive on its own right now at the -9, right? But who are you going to be bringing in, right? So, like, people now are clamoring for ETN out of Jacksonville. First of all, I don't even know if ETN is going to hit free agency. But if you look at their stats, DJ Moore, outside of receiving, was
DeAndre Swift.
I'm sorry, DeAndre Swift, outside of receiving, was essentially better. Better yards per carry, more slightly less yardage, but less attempts, more touchdowns from a rushing standpoint. Like, I'm not going and spending more. You're going to save 7.5, but then you got to go pay 10 million plus for ETN and the open market. That's stupid. That makes zero sense to me. The one guy I will say who I do think would be an upgrade, and I'm still not advocating for it, but he is much younger. He's only going to be 25, is Breece Hall out of the Jets. And that, I don't know what they're doing on that team, but you got to think they're doing some type of overhaul. If Breece Hall becomes available and you can get him for $12 million, I might be on board with it just because I love the player.
I was gonna guess that's what you were thinking.
What I've seen recently is people saying Monangai plus like a second or third round pick in this upcoming draft. And I don't even want that either. I don't want to use that much draft capital this year on a running back. If you're going to go into this 2026 season with Swift, like we're going to do here, we're playing out that contract with Monangai, you still go get a running back, whether it's some cheap guy in free agency. Well, you got to do that anyway because you're probably going to lose Homer this year. You're not going to have Roshan Johnson. And you draft another running back in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, just like you did with Monangai. Then, like Justin said, that's when you move on from him is in 2027. I got nothing else there.
That's good.
Cole Kmet. This was just Justin and I, but, we got 3, so it only takes 2 to get the consensus going. We are going to look to give Cole Kmet a small extension. I think he would be one who would take a friendly hometown discount just because of his connection to the Chicago Bears and the local area. And to be honest, he just had an extension 2 years ago.
Well, and Bob's
he's not going to be the guy anymore.
I'd be okay with that too. Right, Bob? Just
yes.
Stand pat?
Yeah, I mean, that was my position. Just stay pat. There's really not much to be gained, even with the trade, let alone, anything else. So we're not cutting him, so just keep him. Good player, good guy. Just keep him.
His contract is only $11.6 million. I mean, we're not talking huge money. I mean, it is compared to other tight ends, but he's below the tier ones, right? So I think it's okay. We already talked about Joe Thuney. We hinted at it, but we are going to extend him either through 2029 or 2030. Look, I said it. Let him choose. If he wants to be here until 2050, give him the fucking contract. Give him the key to the city of Northwest Indiana of your choosing. I don't care. And then for me, I kind of pulled this in here a little bit. Justin and I both said extend. I think Bob also said extend Jonah Jackson. We said extend a restructure. For me, I just think it's best to just extend to match Joe Thuney through 2029, not 20 and 2030, not beyond those years, right? Like that's too long. That's too long. We already said Tremaine Edmonds. Look, we're cutting him. You guys convinced me. We're cutting him. That $15 million. We are now under the cap for 2026. There's nothing else to do, guys. We're under the cap. We're good to go. We have our 51. Congrats. It's over. Let's just play the 2026 season now. TJ Edwards is a guy we did not mention. I know this is somebody who Gary has been talking to me about a little bit. Look, we all said play out the contract. This was not something that was on my mind at all, is this injury settlement. If the injury is that bad at the age of 30, right, he's 30, I can understand finding an injury settlement. If that is truly the possibility in the case, then we're going to follow suit with that as well, right?
Well, and that would mean linebacker goes up the needs rankings quite a bit, I would say.
We got one more slide here with this, so don't jump too far ahead, even though you've already hinted at it twice. Montez Sweat, we're playing that out. Grady Jarrett, there's nothing you can do, in my opinion, here. You got to just let that play out. It's a shit contract, probably the worst signing from a contract standpoint. No, I take that back. Dio is probably the worst signing from a contract standpoint. Grady Jarrett's real close, though, for Ryan Poles this year. Jalen Johnson, Bob and I just said to let it play out. Justin, I think you said let it play out unless you're going after someone big, right? Like you're making a huge splash, some type of big trade, maybe for, Myles Garrett, who might become available with all the shifts that's going on in Cleveland. If Jim Schwartz is forced out or choosing to leave because they played with his emotions and thought he was going to be the head coach and now he's not, then you do something just to get you over that hump, and I'd be okay with that as well. I don't know where Bob was on that decision. We didn't discuss this ahead of time.
Stand pat. Yep.
Okay. Even if Myles Garrett's available and you got to do it, that's the part I said we didn't talk.
Include him in the trade or cut him?
No, restructure.
I think you just got to stand pat. There's a lot of money there.
All right. Tyreek Stevenson, he's only worth over $4 million, a little over $4 million this year. You got to let that contract play out, see what happens. If he becomes the next Nashawn Wright, so be it. You go find another guy, right? Dio, I'm sorry. Again, that contract sucks, but you got to let it play out. Kevin Byard, we decided we're resigning to it. I said 2-year deal, so I just made a 2-year deal because that last one, you figure it out. Whatever you need to do to get him here, if it's a 2-year deal, that's fine. As long as you can figure out there's no guaranteed money. Jaquan Brisker, we're letting him walk. I said I was going to let him test free agency and see if he comes back, but essentially we're letting him walk. Andrew Billings is walking. Nashawn Wright is walking. And Justin and I both agreed DeMarco Jackson coming back on a 2-year deal to replace either Edmonds or Edwards or both, whoever, and we'll see how that works out.
I don't think you should replace both, but
did I miss anyone?
I think that's
Devin Duvernay?
That's good, man.
Oh, yeah, Devin Duvernay. But again, he was a veteran minimum contract anyway. I mean, yeah.
I have a secret way they could make $3.2 million, but it would involve another if. But Cairo Santos, if you can get a guy who can kick a little farther that you're confident with, you could get $3.2 million cutting him post June 1. But
I'm surprised.
I'm not running him out of town. He can kick at Soldier Field, which clearly other people cannot do. And hopefully you're playing playoff games at Soldier Field for the foreseeable future. So keep him around if you don't have anything better.
I think he's proved his worth. He really has. At this time last year, we were talking about no way you can keep Cairo Santos. He's making too much money. He's not good enough. But now I think you just see, even in today's NFL, the value of reliability from 45 yards in at our home stadium.
Yep. All right.
Anyone else you guys want to talk about before we just finish this up?
I think we're good.
All right. Look, we do not have the exact numbers here with the new salary cap that we're going to have. We will put that together prior to our part 2 episode. Remember, this is part 1. Go to the comment section. Comment. Fuck the Packers. Huddle up. Bear down. Claws up. Whatever you want to say. Rob, you're a fucking moron. Put it down in the comments. It counts as long as you're subscribed and like to this channel. You will be entered into that giveaway. But just a ballpark figure, okay? Extending Tooney, extending Jonah Jackson, cutting Edmonds, right? Those things. Not even talking DJ Moore yet. We're already 20-some million in the positive.
27 million. And we are going to do something with DJ Moore. We just don't know what yet. So there's going to be another 14 to 18 million coming.
100%.
So that's going to be above 40 million in cap space. So we go from 9.5 under to maybe 40, or 9.5 over the cap to maybe 40 under the cap. So that's, that's Trey Hendrickson maybe.
All in a day's work.
That's
all
right.
in a day's work.
That's it. You guys got anything else?
No, it's just fun. It's a fun exercise to go through every single year. I hope you Halas Huddlers enjoy it. A lot goes into it, but I think it's a very important exercise for everybody to see, so we all understand a little bit more how this all actually works.
Yes, I want to thank everyone from our last episode. I want to thank Mark Batnick, who joined us and helped put out all that information regarding the Soldier Field / Arlington Heights / new, North West Indiana situation with the stadium. He was a fantastic guest. It was a lot of fun having him on. Got a lot of great support and great comments and subscribers from that. So if you guys are new to the channel, please, again, make sure that you guys are doing the commenting and the liking so that you guys can get in on this giveaway. But again, next up, if you were here last year, you guys know this was the first part. Next part's going to be free agency. Who are we bringing in? What kind of money are we spending? And then we'll wrap that up going into draft time. We're not waiting all the way to the draft. This is our mock-off season. What would we do? We will have some draft content. I also want to throw it out there that we have a special guest coming up specifically regarding the draft that'll be on an episode here in mid to late February. So make sure you are subscribed if you're not already so you can check that out as well.
Yeah, and even though part 3 of this will be our mock draft for this mock, off-season series, I think I can confidently predict we will do several more mock drafts between now and draft time.
I'm just laughing because in other years we've already done like 4 by now. So
right.
There'll be many.
Yes. Justin, the first year we did this together, we did our mock off-season in November.
I remember that.
Let's roll it back. If you didn't watch, go and watch back. See how we did. Probably better than the real team.
I will say I did push for Jared Verse over Roman Dunze. Just saying. Not in that episode, though.
All right.
Until next time, guys, I got nothing else. If you got nothing else, bear down. Claws up.
It's after Packers already.